Hi, everyone. Now let's have a look at this situation that's going on over here. It's saying that we have this girl, Josephine, purchases a computer for 4,590. Now that's going to be what she started with. That's her initial amount, right? So if I were to kind of draw this over here on a Y and X axes, so if this is going to be time and this is going to be value for the value of the computer. So it's saying that initially she started off over here, the value of her computer, she bought it for 4,590. And then it says that the computer decreases at a constant rate. This over here should give off what kind of question we're working with. Is decreasing at a constant rate. That means I'm working with a linear and the constant rate is my slope, right? It's a negative slope because it's decreasing. And it's saying that's happening for 9 years. So let's say up to 9 years over here. I don't even need to write in years because time could just be in years, right? All right. And then it says, you know what? After which, so at those 9 years, it's considered to have no monetary value. So if I were to sell this computer, I'd just make nothing. It'd be zero, nada. Okay. So I'd be at zero over here. So at time 0, this was its value. At time 9, the value is actually 0. So I can draw this constant rate over here. And we kind of know that the rate is going to be that slope going down, right? So it's saying how much is the computer worth 6 years later? So if that's 9, let's say this was the 6. So we're just trying to find what this value is, right? Trying to find what the value of the computer is after 6 years. So how much is it worth? Let's try and do that. So what do we know? We know 2 points. We know that at time 0, we have a value of 4,590. We have that at time 9, we have a value of 0. So we have 2 different things that we know. And we know that since this is a linear equation, we can use the y is equal to mx plus b. And what do we have? So we have y values, we have x values. So the problem is over here, I know this value because b is always my y-intercept, right? This is my y-intercept. So I immediately know that, okay, that's the 4,590 because that's when x is 0. Then we have over here a point. We can plug in a point, and then we're only going to be missing this slope, right? So then we can find that slope. So there are 2 different ways we can do this. We can use those 2 points to find the slope using m is equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. That's one way of doing it and then subbing it back in. Another way of doing it is subbing in a point. So this is method 1. Using that equation, method 2 would be sub in 1 point to find slope. Okay, so because I used this point to find the y-intercept, I'm going to use this point to find my slope. So I'm going to say, you know what, the point is 9, 0, so I'll put 0 for y. I'm going to have m, which I don't know, and then I'm going to put 9 for x, plus the 4,590 that I know. If I were to solve for m, I could bring this to the other side or subtract it to both sides. So I have negative 4,590 is equal to 9m. I can divide out that 9, divide out the 9. Ooh, that's not 9,000. Sorry, that's supposed to be like that. 90. There you go. So then if I were to do this, then I have 4,590 divided by 9. Now, I could just do 9 into 45, that's 5, 9 into 1, that's 1. So I just have 5, 1, and then bring the 0. And that's negative. And I know that that should be negative anyways because I have a negative slope over here, right? So there you go. There's my m. But we weren't just asked for what is the rate that it's decreasing by. It said, what is the computer worth? So what is that y value, right, for value after 6 years? So I can sub it back into my equation to make a standard equation. So I have negative 510 x. And remember, in your standard equation, everything the x and y will stay the same because those are related to all these different points. But the slope, because it's constant, is always going to be the same. The y-intercept doesn't change as well, so it's always going to be the same. So I can sub those in. Now, we want to find this value, right? We want to find the 6 and whatever that other missing value is. So I'm going to plug in x is equal to 6, and we're going to solve for that value of the computer. So y is equal to negative 500 times 6 plus 4,590. Now I can just solve for this very easily, right? So I do 510 multiplied by 6, that's just 3,010. And then remember that's negative plus 4,500. I don't know why this number, I keep writing it wrong. 4,590. And then I can do this very simply, just subtract. So if I do 4,590 minus 3,010, well, that just gives me 1,530. Okay, so then 1,530 will be the value of my computer. And over here, we can see that that's our answer. A is our answer. Okay. All right, so just make sure our steps are, first, we identify what kind of equation we're working with. This gave it off, right? So first, identify equation. These are the steps, by the way. Identify equation you're working with. If you're given keywords like this, constant rate or whatever, then you do that. Second is to find constants. And when I mean constants, I'm not talking about like just the b. I'm talking about numbers that stay the same. So m as well as b. So the coefficient m and the y-intercept or constant b. Okay. And then 3, sub in your your given unknown. Now I know that sounds weird, but here's the thing. You were given something and you're trying to find the related unknown to it. So over here, you had 6 and an unknown. You're going to plug in the 6. So over here, plug in given to find unknown. Because sometimes you could be given the value, right? You could be given, so the value of the computer at some year is 1,530. What is that year? That's why I'm not saying sub in, plug in your X or whatever. I'm saying plug in what is given to find the unknown, because it depends on what the question is asking. To find unknown. Okay. All right. I hope that helps. Make sure that you also try doing it using the other method. Here's the thing with multiple choice, and when you're doing your SATs, remember that when you're doing multiple choice questions, you're trying to optimize your solution. So if I were to do this using the other method, I'd be doing a little bit more work than subbing in a given point and then bringing it back to solve for the unknown. So it really depends, if you can do this one faster than subbing in a point, then do that. If you feel like actually I can sub in a point and find it faster, then do that. It really is up to you. But for this question, for most people, subbing in the given point, because of the 0, it makes one of them go away. It does make it very simple. Okay. All right. I'll see you next question. Bye.